If you can't stand Karens, hit that subscribe button, like, and drop a comment telling me what country or city you're watching from. Seriously, I want to know where all my Karen-hating crew are at. Now, let me tell you how my ordinary Tuesday became the day my house got its own viral mugshot and my patience got put to the ultimate test. It all started on Sycamore Lane. That's my street. The kind of place where lawns look like they're measured with a protractor, neighbors wave politely, but keep their blinds shut tight. And the only drama should be about whose hydrangeas bloom first. I'd just come from the north side, final walkthrough on the Paterson project. Gorgeous modern place with these floor-to-ceiling windows that make you feel like you're living inside a magazine. I was on top of the world, still in my best charcoal suit, jazz humming in my old Lexus, thinking about how 6 months ago, I finally bought myself a home on this block, a split level with a big oak. Out front, first house I'd ever designed for myself, every detail just how I wanted. So you can imagine my mood when I pulled up and saw a flash of something red that did not belong, especially not. Moving at warp speed down Sycamore Lane. It was a Tesla, bright as a fire truck, silent as a shark. At the wheel, a woman with blonde hair styled like a helmet, one hand on the phone, head thrown back laughing at something nobody on earth could possibly find that funny. She wasn't watching the road. Heck, she wasn't even glancing at my house. She was headed straight for it. I slammed on my brakes, my heart lurching up into my throat. It felt like one of those slow-mo scenes from an action movie, except no dramatic music, just this sickening, splintering sound as her Tesla punched straight through my front door. Oak I designed myself, Italian tile in the foyer, now just an extension of her car. For a second, the world actually stopped. No jazz, no birds, just stunned silence. Then, as if nothing had happened, the car door swung open and out stepped the woman. Blindingly white pantsuit, sunglasses, not a scratch on her. Not even rattled. She looked annoyed, like my house had interrupted her brunch plans. She didn't check if anyone was hurt. She just pulled on her shades, scanned the damage with a look that said, "Ugh, the help is so unreliable." These days, that's when she saw me. And right away, I knew this wasn't just a car accident. It was about to get ugly. She sized me up, black guy in a suit, briefcase in my passenger seat, house keys in my hand. She sneered, real slow, like it was rehearsed. "Oh, look what we have here." Finally, the yard man decides to show up. A little late, don't you think? I looked at myself. $1,000 suit. Architect. Owner of the house her car was now trying to mate with. But to her, just the help. I tried to keep my cool. "Ma'am, you just drove your car into my house." Pointed at the hole in case she missed it. She took off her sunglasses, eyes so cold and empty it gave me chills, and scoffed. "Your house? That's rich. You people are getting awfully ambitious. This is the Harringtons neighborhood. You don't live here. That you people stone." Suddenly I realized this wasn't about her accident at all. It was about me existing on her street. Before I could even answer, she whipped out her phone. "That's it. I'm calling the police. I'm not about to be accosted by a squatter and trespasser on my own street." She dialed 911, right there with her Tesla still drooling oil into my foyer, and started spinning a story that would make Netflix jealous. "Hello, 911. There's been an incident. A very large, aggressive man is threatening me. He's trying to carjack me." I swerved to avoid him and had a little fender bender with the house. A little fender bender. The front half of her car was in my living room. She went on, painting herself as the lone white damsel under siege by a menacing intruder. Meanwhile, I hadn't even raised my voice. If anything, I was just standing there, barely able to breathe from the sheer audacity of it all. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and started recording. I wasn't about to let her rewrite my story. Her voice kept rising, the show getting wilder. "He's dressed like he belongs here, but it's clearly a front. You need to send someone right away. I'm a woman alone and terrified for my safety." The irony was so thick you could have paved a driveway with it. She was standing on my ruined lawn, painting herself as the victim of my presence. I remembered what my dad always told me. When they try to paint you as the monster, you have to be the calmest man in the room. So I just stood there, recording everything, forcing myself to breathe slow and steady. Neighbors started poking out from behind their curtains. Old Mrs. Gable with her yappy white poodle. Mr. Henderson from across the street, looking at the scene like he was trying to solve a math problem. They weren't looking at me with suspicion, just open-mouthed shock at the Tesla in my house. But the woman in white didn't care. She kept shooting me smug little looks, convinced the police would see her as the damsel and me as the villain. When the patrol car finally rolled up, my chest turned to ice. Two officers got out. Davis, built like a linebacker, and Russo, younger and sharper-eyed. She rushed at them like they were the cavalry. "Thank God you're here, officers." That man tried to attack me. Davis glanced at me, calm, in a suit, phone in hand, and then at the gaping hole in my house. "Ma'am, can you explain exactly what happened here?" She launched into her story, now with bonus tears and flourishes, describing a wild swerve to avoid my attack. But Davis wasn't buying it. He looked at the straight tire tracks, the absence of skid marks. Basically, a direct shot from street to my living room. I held up my phone. "Sir, that is not what happened. I have been recording this entire conversation." That got his attention. The woman tried to flip it. "He's recording me. Arrest him." But Russo shook his head. "Ma'am, this is a public space. He has the right to record." Davis turned to me. "All right, son, what's your side?" The word son grated. A little, but I let it slide. I laid out the facts. I owned the house, was just pulling in, saw her drive right into my front door while distracted on the phone, and before I could even ask if she was okay, she accused me of being a landscaper and told me I didn't belong. When I corrected her, she called 911 and claimed I was attacking her. He listened, then checked the scene himself, walking the car's path, examining the busted drywall. "Ma'am, you said you swerved. Can you show me where you were coming from?" She gestured vaguely down the street, making up directions as she went. Davis spelled it out. "So you're saying you made a hard right over a curb, 40 feet across a lawn, into a house, to avoid a man on the opposite side of the road?" She started to panic. Then, twist of fate, Mrs. Gable chimed in, pink robe, poodle under her arm, looking like the Supreme Court in slippers. "That's not what happened at all," she said. She'd seen the whole thing. That red car came down the street, not paying attention, driver on the phone, laughing. She just drifted right over the curb and into Marcus's house. Marcus wasn't even there yet. Russo scribbled. "Away." Davis's eyes hardened. Suddenly, the woman in white wasn't the only voice in the room. When Mrs. Gable finished, the air shifted. The neighbor had spoken. The officers turned icy. The woman tried one last stand. "She's lying. She's probably his accomplice. This is an insurance scam." Russo actually snorted, couldn't hide his disbelief. Davis cut her off. "Ma'am, I need your license, registration, and proof of insurance." The balance of power shifted. She could feel it. As she stomped back to her car, Davis turned to me. "Mr. Thorne, do you have security cameras?" For the first time all day, I grinned. "I do, officer. High def, records 24/7, sends everything to the cloud." Davis looked at me like Christmas came early. I pulled up the footage, 4K, clear as day. The whole crash, her head thrown back laughing. Phone up. Me arriving seconds later. Her tirade. Davis watched it twice. When he was done, he looked at her, cold as a meat locker. "Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent." She was stunned, absolutely floored. Word, but the officers cuffed her anyway, reading her rights as neighbors gawked. "You'll regret this," she hissed at me. I didn't even reply. She'd already lost. Her husband, Arthur Harrington, showed up in a Mercedes, tried to throw his weight around. Apologies, business cards, promises of repairs. But I stared him down. "Your contractors can fix my house, but what your wife tried to do to me? That's not something you can just pay for." He turned pale. "That's the problem. There's nothing to say to fix what she did." After they took her away, Mrs. Gable shuffled over, squeezing my arm. "You stood your ground, Marcus. You handled that with grace. You won today." I'd never felt prouder or more exhausted. I called my brother Jamal, told him to come over. He arrived, took one look at the wreckage, and muttered. "They said vehicle versus structure. Didn't say the vehicle won." I laughed for the first time all day. Jamal heard the whole story. Karen comments, fake 911, all of it. "Bro, you're the guy who apologizes to tables when you bump into them." And she said you attacked her? But he was right. The only reason things worked out was the video and Mrs. Gable. "That's the only system that worked today," he said, and I couldn't argue. Contractors came, insurance was called. My sketchbook, dusty and battered, turned up under the debris. Jamal found me, staring at it. You built it once, you can build it again. This time, you build it with a story. He was right. My house wasn't just wood and glass now. It was a survivor. The news picked up the story. The video went viral. Messages poured in, most kind, some ugly. But for every Penelope, there was a Mrs. Gable, a community I never knew I had. Ben Carter, a lawyer I knew, called. Don't talk to anyone from their camp. Meet me today. He walked me through it. This wasn't just about property. It was about civil rights. We sue for damages, defamation, emotional distress. We make it so public nobody else will dare try it again. The Harringtons tried everything. PR, fancy lawyers, spinning her as emotionally fragile. But the video cut through it all. Our terms. A full apology in print, mandatory sensitivity training, a big chunk of money to housing justice in her name. They caved. Reading her apology in the paper was surreal. Her words, not from the heart. But there for the record. The real win? The money funding legal aid for families who get told, you don't belong here. That, to me, was the best kind of justice. House repaired, new entryway strong. As steel, I threw a block party. Mrs. Gable in pink, her poodle and rhinestones, crowd on my lawn. This street needed a little of this, she told me, looking at the diverse, happy crowd. It needed you. That was the true homecoming. As for Penelope Harrington, I never saw her again. Moved out, disappeared. Honestly, good riddance. My house isn't just a house anymore. It's a monument to surviving, to standing tall in the face of hate. Every time I walk through that front door, I remember what it took to earn that feeling. So tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you have done the same? Ever dealt with a Penelope in your own life? Drop your story in the comments, subscribe if you haven't, and let's keep shining a light on these stories. Because the louder we get, the faster these Karens lose their power. And that's a future I want to help build. 42.